Now then, welcome back to the channel. Hope you are doing well. Let's know what's going on in the comments, how you're feeling, what you're up to, what do you know, and we'll get stuck into what's going on. So I actually spoke to Laurie on the phone this morning prior to even reading this, and I did mention I've seen his article kind of linked, and I've seen a couple of people talking about it, but I haven't actually read it yet. Now I've had a chance to look at it. I'll give you the lowdown on what's happening. Richard says good morning. Good morning. Lee says yo. You all right? Everyone all good? So the deal sheet post this morning on The Athletic. Laurie's sort of been talking about the Ugarte one for a minute, and it seems very, very, very clear that United want Ugarte and Ugarte wants Manchester United. The issue was that PSG weren't prepared to move on the cost of him, but there may be a way for us to do that now. So the big headline is that the Ugarte deal is back on. Romano is reporting that United are pursuing a loan with an obligation to buy, which someone mentioned that, honestly, like 4 or 5 weeks ago. Rather than just buying him out this season. And I think that's a good workaround when it comes to the PSR side of stuff. And then Laurie mentions that the likelihood of this deal happening will increase as the transfer window comes closer to the final day. It's never been an easy deal to do. And I wonder what the reason is for why this one's being kicked down to the back end of the transfer window. Now, if you don't move Casemiro on, and you bring Ugarte in, you've added a little bit of depth. You've taken the pressure off the requirement for Casemiro to start week in, week out, even though we do know that United are trying to move him on. There just isn't a whole host of buyers. The same with Anthony, and the same with Sancho to a greater or lesser degree. Like, you would like them off the wage bill and you don't want them as part of the squad going forward. But I think out of those lot, Casemiro's the least egregious one to kick around. I really, really firmly believe that Casemiro, if he was played once a week or he was coming off on the 60th minute, would give you a bloody good show. And he would go into the 3 for 2 kind of thing that we seem to have got at centre half and that we seem to have been building at the fullback position. So I'd be very happy to keep Casemiro around. His wife seems like she's really happy here. He actually seems like he's really happy here. Yes, he's on an absolute fortune and you're never going to recoup that. You're certainly not going to sell him for any kind of transfer fee. But in terms of his ability as a footballer, it's there, isn't it? So I wouldn't be mad to see Casemiro kept around. And I wonder is the, like, I spoke to Laurie this morning about the Rabiot one, and he said there wasn't really anyone mentioning Rabiot from the club. It seemed to be just other journalists that was mentioning Rabiot, which makes sense in a greater or lesser degree, doesn't it? Rabiot seems like a very easy one to make happen, but that doesn't mean that it's going to happen. Now, I wonder, is Rabiot being thought of in a way where if United do get Ugarte in and then they lose McTominay and Casemiro to transfers, is that when Rabiot would be have his button pushed, if you like? And I wonder if is that how it's going to play off. I mean, let's see what you guys are saying. Askabaz says, yes, the interesting question, which player from the 94 squad would I choose to put into this squad and vice versa? Andrei Kanchelskis is the first one I can think of. Second, Roy. Oh, my God, a 22-year-old Roy Keane. Are you mad? Yeah, there you go. There's your answer. It's fucking Roy Keane, isn't it? A box-to-box version of... Yeah, Roy Keane. The answer is Roy Keane, and then probably second Roy Keane, third Roy Keane, fourth Andrei Kanchelskis. Jesus. Jordan says Rabiot is pony, but he's not better than no one, is he? Oh, sorry, he is better than no one. Because, like, Casemiro, fine. Toby Collier is the next midfielder that can do that role. And he's a freebie. Damo says we need cover for Mainu. I wonder if is that Mount's sort of dual role. Abhinav says Dennis Irwin. Dennis Irwin's not the wrong answer in anything that you want to put him in. YS913 says Brian Robson. The problem is that Brian Robson, if I had to guess, played like 15 games and was not at his best. What happened to Gore? He got injured. Andrew says, what's happened with me and Rio? Nothing. There's nothing happened. Like, and honestly, I've had 1,000 tweets asking that. There's nothing happened. So calm down. Ross says Roy Keane, defo. L says, to be fair, the answer is Roy Keane. What would a 22-year-old cost a day? Well, he was a British record transfer, wasn't it? So if we have a look, because I think there's one of the recent midfielders, haven't they, gone for like 120 million? So the current British transfer record is Moise Caicedo for 115 million. So based on what Keane went, he's in the 125, 130 million kind of ballpark from a relegated Nottingham Forest. So, and I think it would be a fucking bargain. Liam says, was disappointed to hear we're not pushing for a left side defender. We need to be more ruthless with Shaw and replace him. Yeah, mate, do you know what? I don't disagree with you, to be honest. However, look at the moves that we've made this summer. If you just go for pure volume, as you've seen with Chelsea, that can have a fucking serious collapsing of the sort of the way the squad works. It can take a long time for him to settle in. You increase the probabilities of transfers not working. I think we've done a lot in this window, and I would say if we did too much more, it would probably be a little bit more in the mixer. Matt G says, thoughts on Maxi Oyedele's links to Ledger? I'd be disappointed if he's being linked with a move away, to be honest, because I wouldn't mind seeing what he can do in a United shirt in and around the first team. I'd be very disappointed in that unless he goes for big cash. IR says, are we not signing a left back because of Amas? Probably a season too early for him to go straight in. Yes, probably. Ian Nuttall says Schmeichel. I don't think listen, Schmeichel was world class, hands down, right? But I don't think the requirement for Schmeichel supersedes the requirement for a 22-year-old Roy Keane. United Indian says, Steve, but without overlapping specialist left back, Rashford on the left side looks shit, to be honest. You can't fix it all in one window. I think we've done bloody well, and we've taken a step forward. I think if we're there or thereabouts and it's obvious we need that one thing, I think you'll get it in January. Otherwise, I think it'll be next season. John O says, out-and-out striker needed. But is it a need? You've got a player injured. He's not fucking dead. You know what I mean? Højlund's injured. You've gambled on Højlund last season. To write it off now would be a little bit giddy, innit? Dean says, 22-year-old Roy Keane in this team or we win the league. Common Pence this afternoon, Steve. Does Shaw join in the England international break? Would I take Borthwick Jackson on a free? Probably, I don't think I would take Cameron on. I think Cameron's got more chance of playing for Paddock than United at the moment. And I don't mean that to be a disrespectful thing for him. I just think that's the way his career's gone. I think that's more of a factual statement. Would Shaw join in the international break? If Luke Shaw goes on international duty before playing for Manchester United, again, I think people will lose their fucking minds. And I think they'd have every single right to lose their minds. This Come Me says, Ant Nuri from Wolves or Robinson from Fulham, two decent options. I think Robinson from Fulham is the sort of signings Sir Alex Ferguson used to make. Someone that's done really fucking well at a team that you can probably get a player out of, and then you can take them to the next level. Robinson is as much of a Fergie signing as I've ever fucking seen. Etchy says Gundogan. No. Let's move on from that. And we're not signing ex-City players. Thank you. Thoughts on Tony to Saudi? It seems like it's real, doesn't it? It does seem like it's real with that. Irfan says, Rooney, Tevez, Ronaldo in United now. We win the league. Listen, you don't realise how good the good times are until you're out of the good times and you're in the bad times and you're looking at fucking Ashley Young trying to cross it to Fellaini and you go, these are the bad times. Do I think it could be worth putting a cheeky loan bid in for Cancelo from City? No. Louis says, do I think we should worry about losing games 1-0 with a lack of goals in this squad? I actually do, yeah. I think when you've not got the out-and-out striker that we currently don't because he's injured, you have to go into a more sort of team shared responsibility thing. Now, Bruno Fernandes can chip in with goals. I think Casemiro, if playing regularly and playing well, can chip in with goals. Kobe Mainoo's shown he can score the spectacular goals, but can he consistently get 8 to 10 a season? I think that would be a challenge that I set Kobe Mainoo at the moment is, you know, the position that you're in, you're not a fully defensive midfielder. Can you chip in with those goals? We saw the spectacular ones. You know, can we see some scrappy ones now and just get us the wins? And then, of course, Ahmad, Rashford, Garnacho, can you all be looking at between 12 and 15 goals a season? If you've got that, then you don't necessarily need a 25, 30 goal a season striker. It's obviously a very nice thing to have, but if you can spread the goals out amongst the team, I think you can still do well. Damo says, bad times are watching Maguire booting Pogba in the head while trying to defend a set piece. Matt says, I would take a 22-year-old Nicky Butt, so underrated. Do you know what? You're not wrong. We should have signed Vardy as a backup a few years back. Jamie Vardy's entertainment in it. Like he's got flavour, and I love players that can bring fucking flavour because there is so much beige going on. I love that. I did enjoy watching him last night. I absolutely did. But on a side note, Leicester are going straight back fucking down, aren't they? They were awful. And I don't think Spurs looked all that either, to be honest. But yeah, I think Leicester looked fucking in trouble. Right, there's some outgoings to have a bit of a word on, so let me just pull up my notes for those. So, obviously, we completed 4 signings. There's probably 1, potentially 2 more to just do. Obviously, Wan-Bissaka has just left. It seems like Pellistri and Scott Mctominay are going to be in the next 2 to leave. Pellistri's off to Panathinaikos, just pending a medical for somewhere in the region of about 6 million euros. We know that McTominay has agreed terms with Napoli. He seemingly couldn't get the deal done with Fulham, who've now switched their attention to Sander Berge. But it looks like it could still be on to Napoli. They've just got to sell some players and then they'll have the funds for it. It's one of them, and I do see him going, but I don't think it's nailed on that he's going to go. The Sancho situation has been described as a live one by The Athletic. United want 40 million for him, which I think is absolutely fair. And his wages, as we can gather, is the problem in getting any deals over the line for him. United thought Chelsea might present an offer, which is just showing you the absolute shit show that Chelsea are, innit? Like, Jamie Carragher, for once in his life, made a fucking good point last night. People are asking where João Felix going to play. I'm asking where he's going to get changed. Absolutely bang on. Like, what's going on at Chelsea at the moment feels like someone needs to intervene and just go, here's what's going on with this. Because who can pinpoint and say, yeah, this is what's going on with Chelsea at the moment? I can't work out what they're trying to do. I can't work out what the end game is. Are they anticipating a transfer ban? So they go, fuck it, we'll just have 70 players and we'll figure it out. PSG have been linked with a move to him. Don't really seem to have him in the plans. There's been some talk of Juventus. Now, Juventus don't mind buying a player on the cheap and paying them quite a high wage, so I could see that one happening, but I think United just need shut of him and need to just like wash our hands of the situation and be like, that's happened in the past, and then we're done in it. Then there's the fringe players. Lindelof. Supposedly, there's been some talk that Lindelof could be moved on, but he's injured. That's going to complicate things going on with that. Hannibal, there's some more links with as well, and it seems like Christian Eriksen. Ajax have presented a bit of a full circle for him, but they need to balance their books first, even if it's going to be something in the region of about 5 million. And I think United, with how much we paid for Anthony, would probably be quite right to be like, yeah, do you know what? It would have given you a discount, but actually no. So you need to pay whatever it is that we want for him. So there's a chance that move doesn't happen, but there's plenty of time left in the window, and that's 3 players that I think probably won't feature too much for United. So I think it makes sense to get these players moved on, because there's no point having them hanging around if they're not going to fucking play. We've seen too much of that in recent times. And then it seems like the left back is off the agenda. The cost looks like it's going to be a little bit too much for Tony. I think that, like I said the other day, I think the Tony one could be in case someone like a Marcus was to be moved on. CTB says Napoli are a good club. I hope McTominay goes on and continues a solid career at a club like Napoli. Ricky says, well, I miss McTominay. I don't think it's an opportunity to attack a new challenge at this stage in his career. I care about only United. I don't think Scott's been treated badly by United. I don't think he's been treated badly by United fans. I think he's got a pretty solid reputation. I think he's also developed that reputation by good standard at international level. And I think he'll go on and do okay wherever he goes. Does that mean that it's he should be starting for us? No, it doesn't. But it's one of those. Showbit says, hey Steve, we've been as shambolic as ever monetizing our young players during transfer windows. What do I think we are missing in that aspect? I don't know. I think maybe there's a better way to shop window what them players are about, and then demand the sort of money Chelsea do, because Chelsea have got the knack, haven't they? Chelsea seemingly somehow managed to just get players in all the time. For big money, or get them moved on for big money, and that's what's allowed them to do this absolute madness for the last few years in the transfer market that they have been doing. Ross says, could be worse, could have treated McTominay the way Chelsea have treated Gallagher. Yeah. Cortland says, morning from Texas. Good morning, Texas. How's it hanging? Mark says, am I going to manage to watch Bren this Friday? Yes. Hopefully managed to get himself to the final and onto the second mill. Deserves it. Have I seen how good Dakota is looking in PFL? Yeah, I like Dakota. I think she's an absolute ledge, and I think she's one of the best fighters in her division in the fucking world as well. So it'd be fantastic for Manchester if Brendan and Dakota could both bring back the belts. Brendan fucking pretty much retired after the first mill win that he did. So I'm still surprised that he's still not just doing well, but fucking, probably going to go and win this thing. Or if not, it'll be very, very close. Phil says, morning from Oldham. Good morning. Have I heard much about the changes to performance science side at Carrington? Curious to know the mind of Brailsford is going to bring to that equation. No, I am really keen to find out what they are, though. Scott says, are Chelsea exploiting a loophole or something? Not at the moment, no. They obviously put people on some really extreme contracts, and then that ability has been closed off now, so they're not able to do that no more. So I don't fucking know what they're up to. Carl says, Monesty, I'm looking at cycling the Pennine Way in September. You still on yours? Any plans for content on it over the IRL? I've not been on my bike much lately, no. The last, 3 months with the end of season, the Euros and pre-season tour, I haven't really managed to do a lot of hiking, and I haven't really managed to go out and get a lot of IRL content filmed. Me and Janine are going shooting this weekend, doing another carbine combat shooting course, but I'm taking the wife this time on Sunday. Trying to get some content out of that. Otherwise, yeah, it's a long plan for the IRL content stuff. It's not as easy as just reacting to the external stimulus of news that we get like this on the football channel. Shoots take a long time to plan. They take a long time to prepare. And I'll be honest with you, my priority, you'll notice that this is the first time you've seen me in the office in, a few days at least, isn't it, right? I'm doing a lot more videos from home because my priority during summer holidays is my little one. So I'm trying to spend as much time with her. We're doing a little scrapbook of adventures. We built a little beehive hotel. We're going on walks and camping and doing really fun outdoor stuff like that. So that's my priority at the moment, is just spending time with her, especially when I've been away for the Euros and I'm pre-season and that. So it's one of them, innit? As soon as September hits and she's back in school, all sorts will be popping off. I've got that ultra on the 7th of September. I'm going to do the Edale Skyline because that's like about a third of the route, or slightly over a third of the route. So I'm going to try and do the Edale Skyline. I was debating having to go at it tomorrow, but we'll see. We'll see. And then once I've done that ultra, obviously that'll be a video. I'm supposed to be doing some stuff with the army coming up. I really want to go and do Penny Fan again and see if I can get under 410 for it. So there's fucking all sorts of stuff coming on, man. Black Hole says Chelsea are basically running a first team trial. Those who make it stay and those who don't get sold. If all goes to plan, they are going to be scary. They've got too many good players for it to go tits up. I think if they get the right gaffer in, that they could really fly. Amaya says EDL Skyline. No, not EDL Skyline. Edale. Edale. Like Dale with an E on the front of it. Edale Skyline. It's 21 or so miles of Peak District mountains and hills. So it's quite undulating, but it's essentially some of the region of about a third of the same route that we'll be doing on the Ultra. The Ultra that I'm doing is 56 mile over the Peak District. So I've had 2 calf injuries in the last month, which is not fucking good. So what I'm hoping is do the Edale Skyline, see how I feel on the back of doing the Edale Skyline, and then make a decision on whether or not to actually turn up at the start line for the Ultra. So we'll see how that goes. If I complete it in a good time, basically I need to be hitting just over 3 mile an hour, like 3.2 mile an hour with the speed I want to be going, flatline speed. So that means when you're going uphill and you're going like 1 fucking mile an hour, you know, you on the downhill, you need to be going a lot faster for it. Noel says, for IRL, could you come to Ireland? Great places to camp, also growing football scene. Sligo comes to mind. You'd love it and great content. Mate, there's a million places that I need to go, and Ireland's absolutely one of those, yeah, for sure. But it's you know, time and cost is getting out there to do all that sort of stuff. Yahuni says, do I know for what countries people are watching you, except the ones that people say greetings in the comments below? There are analytics that let us see that, yeah. Phil says, am I running the Ultra? No. We will be walking it. So there's me. Our team is called Triple S. There's me, my friend Stu that I grew up with, and a lad called Sean. So Stephen, Sean, and Stu. Triple S. That's our little team. Team of 3 that we're going to go and do it. And we will see how far we get and if it wins or any of that sort of shit. As it stands, the fucking gods of football have done me a massive favour because Paddock don't have a game on the 7th of September currently. I think there's potential for us to have one, but currently we do not have a game. So I wouldn't be missing a Paddock match for it, which would be absolutely sensational if that's how it goes down. But yeah. Abrea says, do I think Kimmich would have done a better job at City than Rodri? Probably not, because Rodri's been absolutely unbelievable, hasn't he? But I do like Kimmich. Kimmich is one of my favourite footballers, an unbelievable footballer, one that a lot of people could learn from. How long will walking the Ultra take and what am I aiming for? Well, there's cut-off points the entire fucking route from, I think, checkpoint 3. Checkpoints are every 4 or 5 or 6 mile. They vary just to make them quite big landmarks. And you have to navigate your way over as well. So I've never done the Edale Skyline. And one of the reasons why I want to do the Edale Skyline is because it's a little bit of navigation practice. I've never done the Edale Skyline before. And all of the routes that I normally go, I know them. So I couldn't map read on them because I just know where I'm going, and that defeats the purpose of trying to practice my nav. So I'm going to go to an area that I don't know, and I have to use a map and compass to be able to find my way around because it's a skill in it, and skills can fade. So I want to get back on the horse a little bit with that, get my skills back sharp in terms of using a map and compass and GPS and that to make sure I know where I'm going, and get it done. The checkpoints, I think from checkpoint 3, there's cut-off time. So if you're not at every single checkpoint by the cut-off time, you're done. It starts at 12, and I think you have 24 hours to complete it. We're aiming to come in about 20 hours. So having done like 24-hour podcasts and stuff, and the fact that you're absolutely goosed by the end of it, I'm very interested to see how doing a 20 hours straight through of, hiking affects me. Now, I can imagine on some levels it's easier, on some levels it's harder. Like thinking and speaking uses actually quite a lot of horsepower when it comes to your brain, whereas just fucking turning your mind off or listen. When I do long ass hikes, there's 2 songs I listen to, right? So one of them is Bicep by Glue, which doesn't have any words in it. It's just a tune, and it just sort of puts me in a bit of a trance, and I keep going through that. And the other one is The Other Side by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Like, I can just fucking put those 2 tunes on and just go. Chris says, I did the Bullock Smithy 56 miles over the Peak District a few years ago. Was well good, but hard. We did it in just that 19 hours and couldn't walk for about 3 days after. There you go. That's the one we're doing. So yeah, mate, I'm looking forward to doing it. I just hope the weather holds out because I can imagine if you get a torrential downpour, it'd probably be fucking game over, won't it? United crowd says we need a new right winger. Can't rely on Anthony, Rashford, Sancho, or Diallo as they're not consistent. I don't think you're going to get one. Sean says my Paddock shirt arrived in New Zealand yesterday. It's mint, fantastic, mate. Make sure if you've just had one delivered, please just tag us on socials, send us on socials, and we'll share all that sort of stuff. Jake says, do I mean glue by Bicep? Yeah, Bicep, glue, Bicep, whatever. Whoever it is. It's the only song of theirs I listen to, so I don't know. It could be either. Indian says, Hoyland's finishing is not spoken about enough. With Xerxes a 10, he'll score a hell of a lot. Ewan says, get up to the lakes on some hikes. You can't, so they can't beat the lakes for trails and mountains. Mate, there was saying about this the other day. British Isles is just absolutely stacked with beautiful places to go and things to go and see and do. And, you know, probably the Edale Skyline, Smithy Bullock Ultra, and then at some point in September, probably the back end of September, if we do manage to complete the Ultra, or if we don't complete the Ultra because I've got injured, then it throws the timeline up into the air, doesn't it? But I would hope, in my head, I'm thinking, in September, I would like to try at least and do Penny Fan again and actually get it into a decent fucking time. Dennis says, I did the Ironman in Kalmar below 13 hours with Underworld, Born Slippy on repeat. Yeah, what is it about just having the same tune? Like, there's no new stimulus coming in, and it just fucking puts you in a bit of a trance, doesn't it, to just keep going. Colin says, fun fact, I wore the original Paddock shirt on a date in summer. Ended well, thank you. Oh, no problem. Getter says, big fan from Uganda. We have lost out on Sanderberg, but Ugarte and Casemiro will do. Yeah, when I put it on Twitter yesterday, I said I think this might be the first L of the window for us. It was the combination, and I said potentially actually as well. It's the combination of, like, we've probably missed out on a target here. If we don't bring in Ugarte, we haven't done anything to the midfield, and we haven't moved Scott McTominay on. So it was that local sort of stuff. Alex says, interesting to know how you felt your legs change as you get older. I did Manchester Marathon in 3 hours this year, and since then I've been fighting injuries. I'm 35 now and starting to feel it. My legs, so for my entire army career, I had something called chronic compartment syndrome, which I didn't know about, and it was only when I left service I actually got it properly diagnosed and dealt with. The army just tried to give me insoles to deal with it, which it needed surgery. I needed a bilateral fasciotomy on both calves, where in a nutshell, the muscle sacs that your calves are in, they just take some big ass scissors and they just fucking slice them all the way down. And at some point, though, that fascia is just going to gather around my ankle and look really fucking gross. But that's a problem for Olsey to worry about, and I'll just wear socks. Now, because of when I left service to getting that operation done, and the fact that in my head I'm still 19 and still in good shape, when I get the urge to, I go on an absolute madness and I will run miles and I will try and do loads of hiking. And the problem is my soleus has aged, and the soleus was the thing that... So what compartment syndrome does is it locks up your calf. So I used to get loads of Achilles problems, and I used to get loads of calf pulls and nicks and tears because I was trying to run or hike through what is an essentially unflexing ankle joint. So because my ankle wouldn't flex, I got none of the damping effect or the cushioning that your foot and deflection of your foot is meant to offer. So I ended up getting a shitload of scar tissue and loads of calf injuries in my soleus. Now, it's getting better, but I still keep occasionally pulling them. And I had my operation 2 years ago, and I'm still picking up calf injuries because it's just taking a long fucking time to heal. I'm also pretty fucking heavy, but I don't feel like I'm heavy. And actually, if you saw my resting heart rate is 47, which is fucking low, actually. It's athletic. So it'd be interesting to see where it can be when I get to my target weight. And hopefully I get there. You know, it might take another year to get there, but it is what it is. So it's a case of what I've started doing recently. I have a sports massage every single Thursday. I go in and I get trigger pointing done, and I get my muscles rolfed and worked, and it's painful, but I'm finding that is helping with both the flexibility. I do mobility every single day, and the physio that I have every single week is getting it to a point where I can start doing some shit again. Yes, says best way to do this transfer, same one as Amrabat. Amrabat's attitude's playing second to none, but just a yard too slow, and that's why loan to buy is a fantastic way to make these signings. Mohammed says, I missed the weather report at Paddock nowadays. Are they not doing it anymore? What's going on there? Emmett says, I did the Black Canyon 100K in Phoenix, Arizona in just under 17 hours. Keep hitting the Stairmaster to strengthen the legs. Well, I'm sort of doing the Stairmaster every day. I'm doing at least 15 minutes every day, but I'm also doing half an hour and an hour to see what sort of effect that it can have. But I also want to get out in the hills as well. I don't think you can train for the hills without being in the fucking hills. It's one of those. Loads of questions about 5. I've already said I'm still going to be on there. Like, what the fuck do you want me to say? There's not been a fallout. There hasn't been anything fucking change apart from like the formats of the shows have changed. But I'm still going to be on there. Like I've fucking Rio's spoken about it and I've spoken about it. Like, I'm not going to fucking answer about it every day when I've already said what's going on. Jesus fucking Christ, lads. John says, order a new wheelchair so I can get out in the countryside. Just doing some researches for the best place to go for the first few times out. Watching you on the IRL is a big inspiration for this. Awesome. Well, there's some in the Peak District, mate, that are actually like pretty fucking wheelchair friendly. Where Longondale Trail, like you can park in a car park and there's like a fucking ramp the entire way up to the trail. And then the trail... There's a bit where it goes over cobbles, but apart from that, like you could probably get most of the fucking trail done just all on the same plane. Keith says, Laurie Whitwell reporting that we're expecting a bid for Sancho from Chelsea. Wouldn't put it past Todd Boehly as well. Jesus fucking Christ. Buffy says, Stairmasters do nothing for technical downhills. I don't think people don't focus, I think is the correct word I'm looking for here. People don't focus on how hard downhills can be. And downhills is constantly putting your knee over your toe. Now, you need a strong... Fucking hell's that thing called? The little teardrop thing. Whatever that's fucking called. You need a strong one of them to keep the knee, like, from fucking blowing, essentially, when you're going downhill. And if you're going downhill for a long fucking time, you really, really do feel it in that muscle. Can't remember what the fuck it's called now, but you do. How are players still convinced to sign for Chelsea? I don't fucking know. Do I think it's realistic to sign Ugarte and Amrabat? Maybe. Chelsea might try and swap Sancho for Sterling. I actually thought about that this morning when I was making my breakfast. I was thinking, I wonder if they'd try and move that on, because Sterling's meant to be a United fan, right? That's played for City and Liverpool and Chelsea. He's meant to actually be a United fan, so, I mean, I guess we will see, won't we? Buffy says, lean forward into downhills. I'd fall over. I have to lean back. Especially if you're carrying weight. Yeah, especially if you're fucking carrying weight. The downhills are as hard, I think. Like, the last time we did Penny Fan, apart from the fact that your gas tank gets fucking destroyed on the steep part of the uphill, the downhill part is where you really start to feel it in your joints coming down. That's fucking hard work. Did I see the post today? I said the total contract length for United's team is currently 82 years, while Chelsea is 191 years. Fuck me. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up, otherwise I'll be on all day. Scottish says, off topic, mate, moving to Manchester in a few months, where's good to live? Well, I could tell you where's not good to live. I couldn't tell you necessarily where's good to live. Didsbury, it depends what you like. If I say countryside, you go, I'll want to live in a high-rise flat. Well, live in a high-rise flat then. You know what I mean? I really couldn't tell you. I don't know you enough to be able to give you that information. Depends what you're into, doesn't it? And where you know anyone or what your commute is like. Live in a city centre or you work outside a city centre, it's going to be a fucking nightmare getting in and out then, isn't it? Either way, take it easy. Cheers for tuning in as always. Catch you lot in the next one. I'll see you in a bit. Bye-bye. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.